I don't know what he be doing. Hey, get off that Wi-Fi, man.
Hey, man. Salakia, sorry. Salakia.
All right, I'm running
I'm
back.
back. I'm back on it.
All right.
All right,
Shalom,
run it back.
shalom. I want to give all praises, power, glory, and thanks to Yahweh Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, and Kakadash. Double honors to the elders, the prophets, the wise men, our forefathers Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Special thanks and salutations to the Akayim, and our brother out there listening and learning, spreading this truth to the four corners of the earth, risking their lives and freedom to do so. Shalom, shalom. Today's live is going to be about Paul and his teachings. We're going to talk about people get confused on the term Gentile. All right, so we're going to talk about the Jews and the Gentile because everybody who reads the Bible, a lot of people, think that the word is for everybody. Even if you point out scriptures, people be like, okay, well, what does the term Gentile mean, such as that? So I'm going to take one scripture and I'm going to give a whole bunch of precepts to go behind it. So we're going to start on Galatians 3:28. So 3:28 says, there is neither Jew nor Greek, there is neither bond nor free, there is neither male nor female, for ye are all one in Hamashiach Yahweh Shai. 29, and if ye be Christ or Hamashiachs, then are ye Abraham's seed and heirs according to the promise. So what Paul was talking about when he's talking about Jew or Greek, if people understand history, you have to understand, we were separated, we were scattered, which was one of the curses. So what Paul was doing exactly what the Most High and Yahweh Shai told him to do, teach the word, but to the sheep, aka the Israelites, right? So to start this breakdown, I'm gonna go through Micaiah real quick, right? So Micaiah chapter 5, verse 7 and 8. Come on.
Oh, that's my part. My part.
Micaiah chapter 5, verse 7 and 8. And the remnant of Jacob shall be in the midst of many people as a dew from Yahweh, as the showers upon the grass, that tarrieth not for man, nor waiteth for the sons of men. And the remnant of Jacob shall be among the Gentiles in the midst of many people, as a lion among the beasts of the forest, as a young lion among the flocks of sheep, who if he go through, both treadeth down and tear in pieces, and none can deliver. So what he's saying is, he's going to hide Jacob amongst the Gentiles. Well, he did this for a reason, because he wanted the remnant to survive. So that one off rip, he's telling you, you're going to be hid among the Gentiles, meaning,
Exactly.
you're going to be a part of the Gentiles, basically.
Exactly. And that was just like another way of protecting us or hiding us. Because there was always at a time, there was always somebody attacking us or trying to kill us. So the best way, another way for us to hide ourselves, is he said, I'm gonna hide y'all in the mist. So he did this throughout time and history. He hid us in the midst of many different nations. Our seed is spread out all throughout the world.
Yeah, a lot of people only focus on the Egyptians, but it was the others. Like, when you break around, I think it's Deuteronomy 23:7, when people think it's the word Edomite and it's supposed to be Assyrian. He hid us amongst a lot of people, and a lot of people still think we're Egyptians. No, they could tell the difference between Hebrews and Egyptians. If you read through the story of Joseph, he told you it was like basically forbidden for Hebrews and Egyptians to eat together and stuff like that.
Exactly. And it only became prevalent when Moses was there, because Moses was in the house with Pharaoh, and that was one of the very first things. The Pharaoh had him in his house. He was privileged. People don't understand that Moses is in a privileged position.
Yeah, he just telling you, like, the Most High just told you, I'm gonna hide them amongst the remnant. You gonna read 1 Corinthians?
Yeah, I'm gonna read first. Then I'm gonna get into 1 Corinthians 12:2, and this is going over about the Israelites who carried on to idols, much like the times now. So 1 Corinthians 12:2, ye know that ye were Gentiles and carried away unto these dumb idols, even ye were led. So basically, what he's saying is, that he know that we were carried away to these dumb idols and the same gods that these Gentiles worship, just like we are today. Just like we got a lot of brothers in Islam, we got a lot of brothers in Christianity, we got a lot of brothers that don't even believe at all, or they might believe in full blown Satanism. And these are different idols and different deities that you're following behind the Gentile, because that's not our God. So God is questioning, he's like, why are you following after these idols and these deities? Because that's not what we've been taught. That's not what we've been passed down from Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. And just like today, the word, like, people get the word Gentile, like in Ephesians chapter 2 and verse 11 through 13, they get the word Gentiles confused with Hellenized. And all Hellenized mean is just like we are now. We're American, but that doesn't mean our original roots come from America. We don't originally come from America. We come from Yasharallah, which is Israel, which is the mother of all people. Just like today, we live in America, and we speak English, and we have American customs, but we're not American. That just means you're Americanized. Just like they took away our language, they took away our culture, the way we dress and everything, so that we would remember all these things. So I want to jump to Ephesians 2, start at verse 11. Wherefore remember that ye begin in the past times of the Gentiles in the flesh, who are called circumcision, and by that which are called circumcision, and flesh may be made by hands. 12. That the time ye were without Christ, being aliens from commonwealth of Israel, and the strangers from the covenants of the promise, having no hope, without God in the world. So verse 12 is talking about when we were away from the temple, we weren't worshiping God, when we were following the idols. And we did this many times. We did this in Egypt, we did this in Greece, we did this in Rome, and we're doing this right now again. So this is a reoccurring cycle that we go throughout history. So basically, God is just questioning you and asking you why. He said, Do you not remember all the great things you had before? Do you not remember the covenant I made with you? Do you not remember Yahweh Shah? Do you not remember all the wealth that I gave you? Just because we were his people. But he's trying to get us to remember this. Just like in Baruch 30, he wants you to remember. Baruch 2 and 30. Now verse 13. But now in Christ Jesus, ye who sometimes were far off and are made nigh by the blood of Christ. So basically what he's saying in 13 is he's saying that he had to make a new covenant. He had to make a new covenant with us, but it did not break the laws. All he did was Yahweh Shai was the sacrifice for all of our sins so that we be forgiven. That's a big mistake that people forgive. That people forget is that Yahweh Shai was a sacrifice for forgiving the sins of Yasharallah, because he looked at us like a fine maiden, like a wife. So in order to clean up his wife, there had to be a sacrifice to clean up. It had to be, and Yahweh Shai was the perfect sacrifice. So that's why he said the blood of Christ made us not, because it made us right. Because with that blood, we are forgiven. And we have time to be forgiven. That's why we have this time now to learn, to study, and gather amongst our brothers.
It's also that's also why we don't have the sacrificial laws anymore, because
exactly, and that's another point I'm gonna bring. Yeah, it's the same reason why we don't sacrifice lambs and none of this like we did before. Yeah, Yahweh Shai was that perfect lamb, that perfect sacrifice, so we don't have to do that. That's what he came for. That's the whole purpose. Because back in the day, when we had sins, they sacrificed a lamb. So people got carried away with it. They would just sacrifice a lamb before they would even sin. And it is, I'm gonna kill a lamb for the sins I'm gonna do today. So yeah, Yahweh looked at it and he said, well, I'm gonna have to fix this. People are just taking this overboard. So what he did is he said Yahweh is gonna be the perfect sacrifice, and he's putting the onus on us to do right.
Pretty much. I mean, you touched on everything, bro. I'm gonna start over to I guess I'll read Romans, chapter 10 and 11, if that's, and then I'll let you get Matthew. So Romans.
Okay, that's cool. That's cool.
All right, bet. Shalom. All right, so Romans 10, verse 12. For there is no difference between the Jew and the Greek.
Shalom.
but the same Lord over all is rich unto all that call upon him. So he's basically telling you, there's no difference. When he's talking about that, he's talking about, you have individuals who grew up in Greek captivity, right? So just like Paul grew up in a different captivity. The only thing different between Jews and Gentiles is this: the term Jews means heathen, right? But in the way when Paul is talking, he's talking about as strangers. So you become considered a Gentile, a heathen, when you don't follow the laws. These laws is what make us holy or separate from all the other people. That's what he's talking about. He's not talking about he's adding in the rest of, the other nations. He only made a covenant with, Yasharallah. That wouldn't make sense if he made a covenant with Yasharallah and then all the other nations come in. Like, we get chastised, but all the other nations slide in. That's not equal. He told you before, God is not unrighteous. God forbid. He told you that in chapter 9. But Romans 11, 17, and 19. And if some of the branches be broken off, and thou, being a wild olive tree, weren't grafted in among them, and with them partakest of the root and fatness of the olive tree, boast not against the branches, but if thou boast, thou bearest not the root, but the root thee. Thou wilt say then, the branches were broken off that I might be grafted in. So basically what the Most High is talking about, he grafted in the Gentiles, meaning he grafted in those that are a part of the blood. They're considered Gentiles, but he also gave them a chance to receive salvation. That's what he's talking about. He wasn't going to separate, this and this. He's going to be he's going to be righteous, just like how the 2/3 are also going to be brought into the kingdom. They're just not going to, inherit it the first time, but they're going to be brought in because, our Father is equal. That's what he's going to do. So that's what he's talking about. So lawless just means, you're acting out of order, and now you're acting like a Gentile, aka heathen. That's what Paul is saying. The term should have been Hellenized, like, Brother Paris was saying before. But, that's why it's important to understand the etymology of words, because if you don't understand the etymology of words, you're going to be confused. Yes, it was translated from Hebrew and Greek, but you have to break down words, because when you make translations, it's going to be very ambiguous.
Exactly, and the context matters too. Context matters very well
And
because
history.
because when he says only one family, what family, what context of what family he's talking about? Well, we know what family made, and we know what the family made with the covenant with Moses. We know that family. That's what we mean by context. That's where you get your precepts from, is when you understand in what context you're talking about. Then you get your precepts. You go back. Well, in context, who you made the covenant with? So you'll go back to Moses. So you get your precepts with Moses, then you'll get a better understanding. That's how all that connects. But anything else you want to add to that before I jump down to Matthew?
Before he read this, he gonna read it. But basically, a lot of people have to stop putting Paul over the Messiah. That's what a lot of people are confused about, and Brother Paris is going to bring it up too. But a lot of people have to stop doing that. Like, Paul told you to follow him because he's following the Hamashiach. That's what he's talking about. He's not talking about nothing else. But yeah, go ahead, bro.
Facts, and just to touch on a little bit what you're talking about, exactly. Paul couldn't supersede Yahushua, because everybody knew when Yahushua came that who he was. He was the one. So everybody knew that he was going to set the example. So it should already be known from the get-go. Paul was never going to supersede Yahweh. He was never going to go against anything that he was going to do, ever. But yeah, just to get back and just talk about, what did Yahushua say? What did he say out of his own mouth? What did he come here to do? So that's all that really matters, what Yahushua and Yahweh said. So let's get to it. Matthew 15:24. But he answered and said, I am not sent but unto the lost sheep of the house of Israel. Don't say the world. Say the lost sheep of the house of Israel. So this means one nation, one people. That's who he was seeking for. That's who he was looking for. He was looking for his lost people.
Yeah, and a lot of people, I mean, I can drop documents and stuff like that, about who are who are part of the the house of Israel. But a lot of people also have to understand, Yahushua was also a part of the house of Israel. He came from the tribe of Judah. If people don't understand it, they don't really touch on it that much. They'll make a statement about it, but they keep referring to him as a Nazarene and stuff like that. They don't touch on it, but the Savior came from the tribe of Judah. So he didn't just come out of nowhere. He just, he was a part of the tribes. He told you that. That's why he said, I'm only sent to the lost sheep,
because
of the house of Israel.
Joseph was from the tribe of Judah. Joseph was kin to King David, who was from the tribe of Judah.
Exactly. He tell you that in Matthew 1, chapter 1.
Yeah. It breaks down the whole genealogy and tells you who begot who, where it came from.
People don't like to listen, man. But you go chapter 10.
I'm gonna jump down to Matthew 10. So what did he tell the apostles? That's also what we're gonna get into. So what did he tell the apostles? So Matthew 10, verses 5 through 6. These 12 Jesus sent forth and commanded them, saying, go not into the way of the Gentiles. I'll just read it again. Go not into the way of the Gentiles. So in this context, he's talking about Gentiles, and he's talking about all the other nations. And into the city of the Samaritans enter ye not. So he's saying, don't go into the other nations. Don't go into those people. So he's telling them off rip, don't mess with those people, because that's not who the message is for. So let's see in verse 6, who's the message for? But go rather to the lost sheep of the house of Israel. So he's telling you again, he told the apostles. So when people say that Paul is going and talking to the Greek, no, he's talking to Greek-speaking Jews. He's not talking to the Greeks, because Yahushua just told him right here that he's supposed to be going only to the house of Israel again.
Yeah, a lot of people get that confused. I was saying it's important to study history, because if you don't study history, you're gonna be confused.
Exactly.
So if the Messiah told you only go towards the lost sheep of the house of Israel, why do people think Paul
will make a whole doctrine against that?
Yeah, that doesn't make sense.
And then they would put it in the Bible. Like, that makes no sense. You have to read it in context and get an understanding. Because when it contradicts like that, then there's something that you're not getting from it.
Exactly. And the Most High doesn't contradict himself. When he says something, it's going to happen. You just got to learn how to read around. Everybody learn how to read context clues, man. That's just common sense.
Just like Blue's Clues, man.
Man, listen. You going to read Acts, or you want me to get it?
So I wanted to also touch on Acts. I want to jump into Acts and talk about Paul. Again, we're gonna get into this Paul, because a lot of people, they still confused about Paul, because they think he was talking to Greeks or he was talking to other nations. So we're gonna get into that some more. So we're gonna get into, he was talking in his native tongue. So when he's talking to his native tongue, what I mean by native tongue, he was talking in Hebrew, Paleo Hebrew. There are multiple different types of Hebrew that were created after Paleo Hebrew. Paleo Hebrew is the original Hebrew that everybody spoke, and that was the first language on this earth. And then every other language stemmed from that. That's the language that Yahushua speaks, and that's the language that Yahweh speaks. That's the language of the heavens. So we're going to get into Acts 26 and 14. And when we were falling off, and Salakia, and when we were all fallen to the earth, I heard a voice speak unto me, saying in the Hebrew tongue, Saul, Saul, why Salakia, why persecute thou me? Is it hard for thee to kick me against the pricks? So basically, just like Darren said earlier, Paul spoke multiple languages. So he spoke Greek, he spoke Hebrew, he spoke Latin. It was multiple languages that he spoke, because he traveled different places speaking to different people. So this should tell you that he was a very well-versed man, and he had a very understanding of different things in different countries, different places.
Oh, quick question. He said, what about David's father, who is from the tribe of Ephraim? Just a question. 1 Samuel 17 and 12. I mean, like, what's the question? What are you trying to ask?
He's saying King David's father is from the tribe of Ephraim. So I guess he's trying to say that King David is not from the tribe of Judah. That's what he's trying to infer. So we'll have to
I'm gonna come back to y'all because
yeah,
that's
we're
a
gonna
long
come back to you,
explanation.
man.
It's gonna confuse him over it.
Yeah,
But we're
DM
gonna
me.
answer that at
Hey,
the end of the lesson.
Mosoul 316, DM me, bro. I'm gonna get to you, bro. DM me, bro, because we got a topic here, man, and we don't wanna run it too long because we're on the timer. But I got you, bro. I got you, bro. We're gonna get at it, but I'm gonna jump down to Acts 21:39. But Paul said, "I am a man, which I am a Jew of Tarsus, a city of Cilicum, a citizen of no mean city. I beseech thee, suffer me and speak unto the people." Acts 21:40. And when he had given him a license, Paul stood on the stairs and beckoned with the hand unto the people, and there was made a great silence. And he spake unto them in Hebrew tongue, saying, so right here in verse 40, it lets you know again he's speaking in Hebrew tongue. So obviously, even though he's not in Israel, he's only speaking to a certain group of people, because only a certain group of people will even understand Hebrew. It has to be his people. That's just like somebody going somewhere and speaking Mandarin Chinese. Everybody's not going to understand Mandarin Chinese. Only the people that grew up understanding this language and this culture. It's the same concept here.
And you also got to touch on, Yahushua. A lot of people, say, the Messiah spoke in Aramaic. I mean, yeah, Aramaic is just another form of Hebrew. Like Paul spoke many languages, because he grew up in like Roman captivity. So he spoke other languages, but he's trying to reach his main people. Not all his people spoke Greek. So he spoke a language that was common to them. And if you read it, it tells you he's talking about the Judean Aramaic, not talking about every type of. But that's why it's important to understand and read and know your history. He tells you, and he tells you Zephaniah 3 and 9. He said, basically, the Most High is going to a certain language. He's going to set them apart. People just like, well, what language is that? Well, he's talking about Paleo Hebrew. Paleo Hebrew, or the Phoenician alphabet, whatever you want to call it. That language was the first one created. Modern Hebrew did not pop up until later. And even then,
1400s by Eleazar ben Yehudi. Y'all go look that up. In the 1400s by Eleazar ben Yehudi. This is a white man that created a whole different type of Hebrew. That's where these people speaking this Hebrew now got it from. Go look that up.
Exactly. With the Dramaic, basically Yiddish type of talking, and they just mixed up the language. And it tells you in the encyclopedia, 1925, modern Jewry is, of the Edomites. So they didn't do nothing but just take our heritage, and switch it around. But that's a different subject. I could drop a PowerPoint on that one alone. But yeah, that's what I wanted to touch on, man.
That's you. You touched on my precept, man. So you got Romans.
All right, bet. So Romans 1:16. For I am not ashamed of the gospel of Hamashiach, for it is the power of Yahweh unto salvation to everyone that believeth, to the Jew first and also to the Greek. So the only thing he's telling you is that, speak to the Jew first and also to the Greek. So I'm going to jump off board real quick. I'm going to jump to Romans 7:1. It's going to touch on 2 points. So Romans 7:1, know ye not, brethren, for I, in parentheses, for I speak to them that know the law, how that the law hath dominion over man as long as he liveth. He made 2 points there. One, the law is not dead. So, you can tack that precept on to Ecclesiastes 12:13 if you want to do that. Two, what he's speaking about is he's talking to the Jews, the ones who grew up knowing the law. The Jews are the ones who knew their birthright and knew what was going on. The Gentiles just didn't know who they were, but they were of the blood of the Israelites. So he's speaking to them first because they're familiar with it. Then he's going to bring it to the Gentiles, he's just going to probably flood it down through the Jews to teach the Gentiles, is what he's saying. Just like now, you got the men of the Lord, the ones who know they're Hebrew Israelites, that's teaching the truth, preaching it to the four corners to the Gentiles who don't know that they're the Israelites. They think they're African American. They think this and that. That's what he's talking about. It's the same thing. Same thing Paul is doing. The same thing that.
There's nothing new under the sun, bro. There's nothing new under the sun
at all. But I'm gonna jump to Romans 9. So I'm gonna read verse 3. I can really read. Yeah, I'm just gonna read 3 and 4. All right. So, for I wish that myself were accursed from Hamashiach for my brother, my kinsman, according to the flesh, who are Israelites, to whom pertaineth the adoption and the glory and the covenants and the giving of the law and the service of Yahweh and the promises. So he's telling you, I'm preaching this to the Israelites, the Jews, and the Gentiles. The Gentiles that are the Israelites is what he's saying. I'm teaching it to them. He didn't say I came for the Ammonites, or I came for the Edomites, or I came for such and such. He told you he came for the Israelites. That's who the promise is for. And I talk about nobody else. And then we got more precepts after that to Westcott, but I'm gonna one more. So I'm gonna go to 11 and 1. I say then, hath Yahweh cast away his people? Yahweh forbid. For I also am an Israelite of the seed of Abraham of the tribe of Benjamin. So Paul is telling you where he comes from. Paul is an Israelite. He's telling you, I'm here to teach the Israelites because I'm an Israelite. Nobody in this book is a Christian. That's nonsense. Tell you, I came for the Israelites. This is what I'm teaching.
That word Christian was not supposed to be Christian. It's supposed to be Hamashiach.
Of course not. And even then,
you can go look it up and go translate it. It says Hamashiach.
Yeah, that one, and people not understanding, Christianity was created by the Romans, who
they created a doctrine, a false doctrine, which is not even true.
And then even then, the Romans, are the Edomites, the same people that don't like the Israelites. So how can they tell you
and
about
God speaks out about them in the Bible. So how are you going to teach a doctrine about the Bible when the Most High speaks out about you in the Bible?
Exactly. And then he talks about the fake Jews, which he talks, in Revelations 2 and 9, and he keeps going. You can find precepts on that one. But you can get the last 3, bro. You can get John and Isaiah and Revelations.
All right, I got you. So basically, we're gonna jump down to salvation, and basically this is another misconception that everybody thinks salvation is for everybody. That the Most High and Yahweh Shai are here to save everybody. That's not true. Salvation is only for Israelites. It's only for His people, because they're the only one that needs saving, because they're the only one in a condition of torment. They're the only people that have been tormented throughout the years, so they're the only people that He's going to look for to save. So we're going to jump down to Isaiah verse 14. I'm going to start at verse 1 and go to 2. For the Lord will have mercy on Jacob, and yet will choose Israel, and set them in their own land, and the strangers shall be joined with them, and they shall cleave to the house of Jacob. So right here, a lot of people, they get confused when they see that word stranger, and they say join unto them. So they're thinking they're going to be just like them.
No, nobody.
And when it says stranger, he's making it set apart for a reason. And he said they're going to try to cleave on to the house of Jacob and the house of Israel. Why? Because just like we're doing right now, the men of the Lord, they're pushing the truth. And everybody can see it, and everybody can feel it. So all these other nations are going to try to cleave on to us towards we get to the end time, try to see if they can get a little token or something just by being around us. Because they didn't like us at the beginning, but they're going to love us at the end.
Oh, yeah, read too. They understand what them strangers come in.
And the people shall take them and bring them to their place, and the house of Israel shall possess them in the land of the Lord for servants and handmaids, and they shall take them captives, whose captives they were, and they shall rule over their oppressors. Rough, man. That's rough, man.
I mean, the truth hurts.
That's rough, man. But it tells you right there, so who's up for? And I got another precept for that. We'll jump down to John 4:22. Ye worship, ye know not what we worship, for salvation is of the Jews. So basically, what that's saying right there is saying that people worship, people call upon the Most High, and they might try to worship, but they don't know about salvation. They don't know what we worship for. They don't know what we pray for. They don't know why we follow the law, and we do the Sabbath the correct way, the holy days, and we remember our history, because salvation is for us, because we're the only people that need salvation. We're the only people in the world. Our history is taken from us, and we have to get it back.
Oh yeah. Read 24 real quick. You know, he didn't say nothing about coming in as religious. What does Yahweh say come as?
Let me get 24 right quick. Because that's what a lot of people get that mixed up right there. All right, verse 24. God is a spirit. They that worship him must worship him in spirit and in truth. So basically right there, John 4:22 is saying God is a spirit. They must worship him. They must worship him in spirit and in truth. And basically what it's talking about, spirit and truth, is you must worship him in righteousness and truth. So if you're gonna worship the Most High in righteousness and truth, that means you have to be forthcoming with everything about the truth. That means you have to, if you're gonna be on this truth, what you gotta speak the truth about the Israelites, about the Hebrews. You gotta talk about all the torment and all the hard times they went through. But you also gotta talk about everything else. You gotta talk about the plagues that we're going through today and the wrongs that we're doing to our own. You also gotta talk to the 2/3 out there. You also gotta talk to the other nations. There's no half truths in this truth, man.
Oh yeah, 24. He also talked about how, like, you know, he didn't say come as religious. You know, he didn't say come in to them as religious. Mm-hmm. Our people are spiritual. So in order to understand this truth, well, one, you have to be preordained for it. You know, everybody has to be chosen. Two, you have to go home spiritually. That's what he's saying. You have to seek him spiritually and not dwell in this religious stuff.
Exactly. You can't have a carnal mind. No carnal minds, man.
I got a picture on that one about the definition of religion and stuff like that. You got to understand the etymology of the word religion, which means to, like, you know, to basically trap in a box in a certain way. So you're not going to understand the truth, especially for our people who like to dwell in Christianity and stuff like that. One, you're worshiping a false god. We don't understand that J word. We don't know who that is. There's no J in Hebrew. Two, when you're basically taking upon a religion basically a religion that was created by the people who murdered your savior. So how can they tell you about your savior if they murdered
your savior?
That doesn't even make sense.
Rome killed Yahushua. So how is the Roman Catholic Church going to teach you about? You know, it doesn't make sense, and it's a sick story. I got one more. I got Revelation is 21:12. And we all know what Revelation 21, it basically speaks about the 12 gates, which represents the 12 tribes. And that and another misconception that people get is they get it mixed up. Is I think around the verse 9 verse 9 or 10 is they get that mixed up, and they try to think that he's gonna engraft and bring Gentiles. No, he's talking about the confusion of faith. He's talking about our brethren, because we had transgressed the law, because he at first he didn't want us to mix with other nations, but our ancestors did. So once you mix with other nations, your bloodline, your seed gets diluted, and you start to look different. So not all of us look like how me and Brother Darren look on the screen. Some Hebrews, they might almost look like Esau. So being a man that's very wise, Yahweh knows this. He already knows it's gonna happen. So he already has prepared a situation for this to accept them, because he knows who their forefathers were. Because that's what counts. Just like in First Kings, King 1:18, where it tells you it's from the seed of your father, from the bloodline. That's all that matters, and that's what Yahweh looks at. Anything you want to touch on that, bro?
Nah, just read 21-12 so people understand what they talking about, who is aimed at.
And had a great wall high, and 12 gates, and the 12 angels, and the names written thereon, which were the names of the 12 tribes of the children of Israel. So again, it's telling you, on the wall he had 12 gates, 12 angels, and 12 names, and all of them that were the 12 tribes of Israel.
Hey, straight like that,
So
man.
straight like that, man. He's telling you who salvation for. Because if he wanted it for everybody, he would have point blank said it. He's not a man to confuse people. He's not gonna mix his words. He means what he say. He say what he means.
Exactly. So that was just a lesson about understanding the Jews and the Gentiles. You just got to understand in what context. When Paul is speaking to them, he's talking about the Israelites. Just like I told you, Romans 11:1. Paul tells you where he's from. He's from the tribe of Benjamin. He also tells you in Romans 9. I advise people to read through the whole thing of Romans 9 so people understand it. But he's telling you this is for them. And a lot of people get mixed up about, heathens and stuff like that. I'm going to drop a picture. I'm going to add it to the, what's it called? It tells you the picture of the nations. There's only 18 nations. There's 18 original nations, right? This is a whole nother lesson anyway. So there's only 18 nations originally. The reason we have like 161 nations now or something like that is because, Esau Edom jumps from one land to another. Say if I go to a landmass and be like, okay, this is South America, or this is Brazil. So I'm going to call myself Brazilian. It doesn't work like that. You're going to still be the same nation you were leaving. The landmass is still going to be the landmass. So a lot of people need to understand when they're learning and stuff like that. Learn who the other nations are. If you need help, I got a whole PowerPoint. Pear's got the whole PowerPoint too. I got sheets
man. We
that
got
help
everything,
break down
man.
salvation, everything that helps people understand how the Messiah came from Judah, which I'm gonna drop to what's it called. And I just got a whole PowerPoint to help people learn easier instead of them reading on their own. But he's telling you who he came for. The Hamashiach not gonna sit there and lie to you. He told you he came for. The only thing is Isaiah 1:3. Our people don't want to understand who they are. They don't care to consider. They hear the word African American and they run with it. But
Exactly. Or they hear the word black, they run with it. They hear all these other bywords except the nation, what they're supposed to be called. People do not consider. And basically, I just want to touch on one more verse before we leave to basically just solidify everything that we're saying, because everything that we're saying, this is the will of Yahweh, and this is His word. So just to solidify it, just let people know that ain't no change in this. Is Numbers 23:19. Yahweh is not a man that he should lie, neither the son of man that he should repent. He has said, and he shall not do it. He shall not do it. He has spoken. Shall he not make it good? So basically that verse is telling you that Yahweh is not a man that lie. And if you said he's gonna do it, he's gonna do it. And if you say he's gonna make it good, he's gonna make it good. So all these promises that he made with Moses in the very beginning, he's gonna make good on all that. He's still gonna make good on the promise he made with Jacob. So he still remember all this. He's still gonna remember all this throughout the times of tribulation. That's why we gotta return back to the law. Oh
I'm
yeah,
listening,
we
bro.
got you. I got you, Benjamin the Great. I got you. You said upload the PowerPoint to YouTube for edification. All right, man. We're gonna figure out a way. All right, man. I'm probably gonna. I'll probably screen record. I'll probably screen record and flip through it. Yeah, that's a good idea. But I
Yeah,
got you, bro. I got you.
that one is a long one. I got one more, bro, to touch on that one. I'm gonna go to First
Mm-hmm.
Corinthians.
Yeah, be looking out for that this week. Yeah, that's a good. Yeah. I'll put that on there. I got you, Benjamin the Great. DM me. Remind me.
I'm gonna touch on First Corinthians 14 and 33 real quick. For
And
God is not the
Moso 316. I got you.
yeah.
Go ahead.
All right, so First Corinthians 14 and 33. For God is not the author of confusion, but of peace, as in all churches of the saints. Simple as that.
Mm. 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 So people have created a whole doctrine off of just one verse, and you can't do that.
Oh, you need to get the one. Get the one about leaning on your own understanding. You definitely need to get that one.
Oh, hold on. You right. Hold on.
Because folks love to do that one. What's good, man? Therapy. Shalom.
All right.
Oh.
Proverbs 3, starting verse 5. Trust in Yahweh with all thine heart, lean not unto thine own understanding. So in verse 5, he's already telling you, don't lean unto your own understanding. Trust the book. Trust what he's saying. Start making up your own stuff. That's when you go off. In all thy paths and thy ways, and acknowledge him, he shall direct thy path. So he's saying he will direct your path. He will direct your understanding if you acknowledge him in all your ways. He's telling you right there, man.
I mean, even then, he told you in Psalms, it might be 111, if I am right. I might be off. Let's see. Nope, not 111. No, it's not 111. Which one is it? Is it 111? When he tells you, the beginning of wisdom.
Beginning of wisdom is the fear of Yahweh.
That one. And he
Mm-hmm.
tells you in another one. I can't think of it. I'm like going blank right now. When he tells you, you get a good understanding when you follow the commandments.
Oh, through thy precepts I get understanding,
Yep.
so
And
that
he
I
tells
hate
you.
every false way. I think that's Psalms 104. Something like that, 104.
Man.
104. Through that, yeah. Psalms 104.
119.
119.
Yep. 119, 104.
Through,
Yep. Tells you where it's at. Through thy precepts I get an understanding, therefore I hate every false way. Well, a lot of people get confused on the precepts. You want to read them that verse about, precept upon precept,
yeah.
line upon line?
Let me get that. I got you. Let me get that. Go ahead and explain that verse if you don't know.
Oh, the one I'm reading right now?
Yeah.
The precepts. So basically what he's saying is, you get a good understanding of how to read stuff. You understand you're on a good path if you can connect the dots. You see what I'm saying? So a lot of people might take a verse like, "Oh, this means this and this means that." Well, I always ask them, connect the dots for me. Give me 2 or more precepts that go along with it.
Exactly.
It was written
You
like
can't
that
just throw
because
out one verse and then that's doctrine. No, it don't work like that, bro.
exactly. Most of them don't even follow the laws. Like in order to understand, you have to follow the laws. If you don't follow the laws, then he's not going to make everything clear to you. It's just like if your mom, you live under your parents' roof and they tell you, you follow my laws, everything's going to be okay. Well, that's what's going on now. You know what I'm saying? We're in this situation because we didn't follow the laws. We're supposed to be holy. What's good, Harry?
What's up,
Uh,
Scope?
he's telling you, follow my laws and everything is gonna be okay. Just like Deuteronomy 28. People just looking through Deuteronomy 28 and not reading it. That's how you understand, who we are. You know what I'm saying? You can match it up with anything. Try with the Jewish. If you think the Jewish are, the most high holy children, read through 28. If they don't match the precepts, that's not them. It's simple as that. You know what I'm saying? And that's when it comes into history. The book lines up with history. You just got to know how to sort through it and stuff like that. And that's what a lot of people lack when they come to the truth is history. If you don't understand history, then you're not going to be able to understand what angle to read from.
Everything would be confusing.
Yeah, stuff like that. Just like how we scattered. It's not just like boom, boom, boom. And we're not called Black Israelites because we come in different shades and different colors. He had 12 sons. They all
Nobody's
just
black.
pop
My
out
beard
the
is
same.
black. I'm not black. You know what I'm saying? Nobody's straight black. That's not a real color of a person ever.
Exactly. So you got to be able to what's called, and the term Jewish should have caught you off the hook. Okay.
Ish.
Exactly. Ish.
Ish.
Like,
Anything that's ish is not quite ish. It's a little ish. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Those are the Ashkenazi Jews, but like I said, that's a whole different lesson. We'll have to break that one down.
Yeah, that's a whole nother line for a whole nother day.
Yeah. We just wanted to touch on, helping people understand, the Jews and the Gentiles. And if they have questions, they can always, DM me or you, doesn't matter. That way they can get an understanding. I think I got a PowerPoint. We got a PowerPoint that touch on it, this and that helps you understand. And I got a video to help you explain it more. Even was it Socrates? I think it was Socrates that was hanging out with individuals they knew they were Jews, and stuff like that. But that's how they get people confused. Identity. If I don't know who I am, then it's gonna make it easier for me to take upon somebody else's role or go with the first thing that people tell me.
Yeah.
You gotta read, man. When you read, you gotta read through them precepts. If
Exactly.
anybody tries to teach you, go ahead. You can read on it, man.
And just to touch on that, I wanted to get Isaiah 28:10. For precept must be upon precept, precept upon precept, line upon line, here a little, there a little. So that's basically telling you how you're supposed to read. It doesn't tell you you're supposed to read. You're supposed to get John, the 4th chapter, and read it straight through. No, it's supposed to you get precepts in between that chapter to get understanding from John chapter 4. Just like we pulled up all these verses from at least 10 to 12 different books, you should have a plethora of different verses to back up what you're trying to say. Because if you can't, then it's not really coming from the Bible. You're just making it up. And that's what a lot of people get confused with when they get indoctrinated with these different religions. Because they will just stick to 4 or 5 good verses and they'll never touch some parts of the Bible because they know they can't mess with it because they don't know how to explain it.
Oh yeah, read Isaiah 28:10 real quick. Then we done.
I did.
Oh, you did when he says, I mean, not 28:10, 8:20.
8:20. Oh, my bad.
Should be Isaiah 8:20. Yep.
You got it.
No. Oh yeah, I got it. All right, Isaiah 8:20. To the law and to the testimony, if they speak not according to this word, it is because there is no light in them. They're lying to you, basically. We're children of the light. If they're not teaching you to uphold the law, statutes, and the holy days, and exactly. Telling you the true name of the of the Most High and our Savior, then they're not teaching you the truth. They're teaching in a doctrine. It works 2 ways in the eyes of the Most High. Right is right, wrong is wrong. You're either following the law, statutes, and the holy days that He set, or you're going against Him. There is no lukewarm. You be lukewarm, He's gonna spit you out anyway. So you got to choose, man. Everlasting life or perish with this world. And He told you not to dwell in this world.
Facts. Anybody got any questions? Y'all got our Instagram. Y'all can DM us. This live will go on YouTube. And we will be putting the PowerPoints on YouTube too. We got to figure out how we're gonna do that. We'll be coming out for that. We will be doing that too. And I will be putting in the description the links to the post that me and Darren were talking about. So anything y'all need to know, just please DM us, let us know. And we got y'all. Anything else, Darren?
No, you touched on it, man. Just a simple, short lesson.
All right, and we'll close out giving all thanks and honor to the Most High, Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua. And I want to thank all y'all for watching. Hey, we're gonna keep coming with it, bro. More lives, bro, throughout the week, bro. We're gonna keep hitting with it, man.
Oh yeah, DM us if you have any questions or it's a lesson you want to